Hey folks, JD here. Let's have a walk and let's have a talk about infrared photography. Now this is a continuation of the week. This is my 720nm converted camera into infrared, 720nm converted. So if I open this up, as you can see, I have a totally different sensor and lens sensor on the camera itself. That will then enable me to be able to shoot colors in a way that we can't see. So if you haven't seen all the other videos I've made on my infrared series, you can find them either in my Canon playlist or you can find them in the description. I go into quite a lot of details here. No, I'm not sponsored by Canon. I just like to do things a little bit differently. And infrared photography has captured me in a way that you know what? I've been into photography now for almost about 20 years, I think. And the photography means a lot, quite simply because it reminds me of a given time in a given place where we can go back and look at, and that photo is sealed in time. Now, infrared photography is a lot like that for me, apart from it brings out colours that us, with our naked eyes, can't see. So it looks at a different spectrum and it brings out those colours. Now, there's lots of different spectrums that you can convert your cameras to. You haven't even got to convert your cameras, as I go into in a previous video. You can just buy lenses if you want to, filters that screw onto your lenses, but I found that they're not great, and I'll tell you why, or I have actually told you why in the previous videos. Now, 720nm, what you need for this is you need a very bright, very clear day. So we don't have a very bright day, we have a very clear day. Now what I'm going to be doing is looking at, as you turn on the camera, I don't know how well you can see this, hopefully you can see it pretty well. You can see that the image inside there looks like a negative. So I've got my auto levels set, I've got my manual level set, sorry. Do not use auto when it comes to any sort of infrared photography. You have to use a manual level, because otherwise you're not going to get the proper photo coloration and the proper photo colors and density of those colors when you then process these images, which I'll go into in a separate video. So for the second, normally what I do is I shoot with an ISO of 200. And that then ensures that I get very nice quality, because don't forget, we're going to have to switch the levels of this particular negative, the negative of the photo. Switch the levels so that then you can bring out the infrared color. I'll go into that, as I say, in a different video. So if you leave it on auto, it can choose anywhere from ISO 100 up to 3200, or in my case, what have I got, 6400, I think. Boop boop boop. Oh, there we are, 12,800. And anything over 400, you are going to notice quite noisy, your photos being quite noisy in the world of infrared. So normally for this, I was hoping this cloud would go away, but it's not, sod. So what you want to do when you take an infrared photo, you want to try and get as much in the frame as possible. You need to have some clouds. Infrared clouds look absolutely incredible. They really do, and there's a difference. If you have clouds in a photo, it makes the photo. Don't just think of it as, oh, it's a cloud, I don't need that. Think of it as, oh, it's a cloud, I need that. You also need a bit of ground, because when you change the levels of these of the 720nm, what you're going to find is the grass goes bright white. The foliage of your trees go bright white. Some foliage stays cream, so you really bring out those incredibly white, skull white colors. Now, the reason why that is, you've got a lot of different spectrums you can use. 720, everything is just bright white pretty much, but you've got to see it to believe it. Tree trunks go as grey or as silvery as you could ever imagine. Like in fact, you know what, I'm explaining this terribly. Let me just show you a couple of photos of some already processed images that I have taken using this 720nm converted camera. So as you can see, those few images you looked at there, there's no photoshopping, there's no images, there's no sort of image trickery. All you do is you switch the levels so that you bring out those colors. You don't fill anything, there is nothing, it's all converted camera. This is doing all of the work. Quite literally, when I show you the image processing in post, you will see exactly how simple it is. It's quite literally, you're shifting your red, your greens and your blues, but you're shifting your reds and greens and blues inside your reds and greens and blues. I'll come on to that a little bit later on in a different video. It's quite simple, and obviously I think when you see it done, you can save a preset, which makes it even easier then every single time. So today, do you know what, isn't a great day for this? Damn it, I really wanted this to be better. But what you're doing is you want to get a nice amount of sky, some nice, overexposed. You want to get a nice amount of sky, you want to get a nice amount of floor, you want to get your main subject in the middle, so that then your eyes are focused. You're looking at the top, you're looking at the bottom, you're looking at the middle. You can use rule of thirds if you want to use rule of thirds. Actually find it would work pretty easily. So rule of thirds, when you're looking at the back of a camera and you've got a grid enabled, if you haven't, you can enable it very, very easily. Basically means you've got something in one or in three of the grids. So you've got something in the top, something in the middle, something in the bottom to draw your eye. It doesn't have to be across diagonally, it can be down, it can be in the middle. If you are working with something which is going to be on the left, what I would probably do is autofocus and then change so that it's in the middle, in the left and in the right. You want to avoid taking photos at direct light. You need a lot of light to come into your lens here. The lens I'm currently using is my 22mm pancake. There we go, very, very standard Canon lens. You don't want to be taking photos directly at the sun, otherwise, where's the sun? There. Otherwise, what you're going to get is you're going to get a total whiteout, and you're going to get a white circle around everything. And you don't want that. You want to add as much light as possible, but without looking at the sun. Now, I'm too early in the morning for this. Generally, I leave this until about midday, between after 10 o'clock in the morning and midday. So I don't know what these are going to turn out like. They may be very dark. This is where the cream colours of the leaves may come out rather than the brilliant skull white. But I mean, you can take photos of anything using infrared if you wanted to. If I had my zoom lens, then I could take photos directly of that little sapling there. You know, you can take anything you want to. You've just got to be aware of your light levels. You've got to also be aware of your, oh, I had this on auto as well. There we are, that's stuck on 16, so that's 1600. That's going to be awful. So if I go back now, see that cloud formation here where you've got the separation of clouds? You've got your top cloud, you've got a cloud in the middle, and you've got clouds at the back, almost like a shelf. That is the sort of cloud formation that you're after. You're after clouds generating, they almost look like candy floss. It looks so fluffy, it's unbelievable. Don't always shoot in, I've got a habit which a couple of my photographer mates always tell me about. I've got a habit because I think in videography terms, I think in 16:9. My photography mates, and I've always done that, even from my original SLRs to my DSLRs to my bridge cameras to whatever, I always think in 16:9. My photography mates often shout at me and tell me to think in 4:3 as well. So think in portrait as well as landscape, in other words. Now with an ISO of 200, you're going to ensure that you get a nice quality image that you can crop into. Should you want to do that? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There we are, focus. What you can also do is focus at one point, and then as you've got the autofocus, shift your camera up. And as you shift your camera up, you're changing your autofocus until you're actually looking directly at the top there. You can also do it in reverse. So you can click an autofocus and then you can move it down should you want to, so that you get more of a layer of the ground. Now, it depends on what it is exactly that you are taking photos of. If you're taking photos of a human subject, yes, I am human. What you're going to notice is people's skin turns at 720nm turns almost like plastic, blemish free. It's almost like it has like an androidian sort of look to it. So it looks absolutely brilliant. Whereas say the other spectrums, like say like say for argument's sake, your 590nm goes very orange, so you just look like an orange pretty much. So it does depend on your whichever spectrum you were using, whichever light, whichever number in the spectrum you were using rather, as to what people are going to look like. So other things that look good, horses look brilliant. They look very spectral. So again, if you can get any sort of image like that, any sort of animal image in there, then you're pretty much well to go. Now a lot of people would think shooting into the sun there would give you a good photo. It doesn't. It gives you a circle directly in the center and gives you a lot of noise and distortion. So here, what I'm doing is I've got a tree either side, clouds in the middle, horses off to the right. So everywhere you look, you've got something appearing inside that photo. The cloud cover, if it was a little bit brighter, this cloud cover would be, see the sun's directly there. You could take photos, say, of dark places like that. So I've just got my autofocus. I'm going to twist my camera up slightly. You also haven't got to be standing for all of it either. You could be kneeling. Oh, my knees aren't as good as they used to be. And then you can autofocus and then switch up. Or you can autofocus and stay there. You don't have to have a long exposure with a converted camera either. You can go for a standard exposure, just the auto exposure will do for that. You can also alter the exposure levels should you want to. Sometimes what I find on using different converted cameras, I sometimes have this set to -1 constantly, just because that is that particular type of camera. With this one, because of the color photos it gives us, I generally set it to 0. That way then I can be sure that I'm getting the best quality photo that I can. So the sun is there off to the left, come back, let the tree cover the sun, and then you've got yourself a nice little photo. Easy as that. You've just got to remember a couple of key points. Those key points are generally around your ISO, generally around how much light, so you don't shoot directly into the sun. Everything else there is just generally gravy then, friends. Right. Hello doggies. Hello Woof. Hello. Morning, you alright? Hello. So let's go over here, and then we've got the River Avon coming through here, heading. Bristol is over towards that way over the left. Well, I am in Bristol, but Bristol city centre is over to the left. There are a couple of holes here from campers, I don't want to fall in them. So Bristol is down towards the left, Bath is up towards the right. So generally around here, I don't know how well it's going to come out because I generally don't have any. See, this is perfect. If you had a bit more light, if it was like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, this would be perfect because you've got the symmetry angle. So you've got your tree line in front of you, you've got your symmetry in the reflection of the water, you've got your bank there as well, which again, you've got the reflection. It's so still, so this is going to come out extremely good. It's going to look almost like glass. And then you've got a bit of sky there, a little bit of cloud cover. So let me try and not fall in these holes and walk back this way. There we go. Now, as I say, I'm not the forward in infrared, not at all. I just enjoy it. So as I enjoy it, I thought you may enjoy it. And I want to try and expose people to more of the infrared converted cameras, because you know what, I think everyone's missing a trick. Going out and buying a normal camera and just using a standard camera and not actually using a converted one, I think we're missing a lot. A camera will take a standard photo, we know exactly what that looks like because we can see it with our eyes, but with infrared it just brings everything out a little bit more. You get to see everything as, you know, in almost in a parallel universe. You get to see it in a way that we don't see, and that is just intoxicating for me. Absolutely intoxicating. So we're going to keep on going across our trail. I come down here every single time when I fly. It's just beautiful. Time to relax, we're going to come across a duck pond, huge pond in a bit. I'm going to talk a bit less then, because you normally have loads of herons there, swans, ducks, moorhens, coots. There's loads of different wildlife in there. There, look at that cloud cover there. That's lovely, so we might be able to get... You've got, let me just go back, you can see that one. Got a bit of sky, you've got a bit of cloud cover, you've got your trees. Beautiful. That's the sort of effect I try and go for, where you've got everything, but yeah, it's not too full. There we go. Another thing as well, if you're shooting berries using a 590nm, then those red berries will turn bright, luminescent white. Oh. Sounds like pheasants. Yeah, we normally have a lot of pheasants around here. You normally hear them calling here, and in the next bit is my favourite. You're walking next to an absolutely colossal weeping willow tree. Don't know how old it is, don't know how long it's been there. That's part of the mystic, it's mystical sort of imagery, and I enjoy not knowing, I think, as far as that's concerned. Oh wow, they've actually replaced it. Oh, fair play. Was that... See, it's some of the reasons I love Bristol. Was this... I'm going to be a bit cautious, because other videos that I've got on this channel show this bit here. Looks like it's been done professionally by the council, hopefully, because other parts of videos I've got on this channel show this as being just, well, it rotted away and collapsed. This is a little pond as well. This isn't the one I was talking about earlier. But it's beautiful. When all these irises bloom, you get so much different colour there. It's just beautiful. You get reds, purples, yellows, just so many different colours there, just all at the same height as well. And they've cut back all that as well. See, I understand you've got to cut stuff back, but think about the animals when you do. I don't want to come across, I don't want people to think I'm a new age hippie, but at the same time we've got to look after what we have. And a lot of these plants, there's the weeping willow. A lot of these animals need to have these, what would be untidy to us, but they need to have, like, say, some of this gorse, some of this bush, so they can take the twigs for their homes. Lovely, really lovely. There's another path that side. Now if you keep on walking across there, you eventually get to Bath. It's like a 12-mile walk. It's beautiful. I've done it probably twice, 3 times maybe, in the 7 years I've lived in South Bristol. And yeah, it's just magical. I just love it. Again, if you've got a normal film camera, listen to me, Grandpa. If you've got a normal camera, these spider webs that the GoPro might be picking up on are very, very useful and very, very good to take photos of. They can really pop, especially with the dew on them. They look fantastic. If you've got a macro lens on, you can zoom right into the dew. And I've got a photo. I'll try and find it for this. I've got a photo in my archive of me with a macro lens taking a photo of a dewy web, zooming into one particular ball of dew, and then seeing my reflection back in the dew. That was with my old Nikon cameras before I changed to Canon. Years ago that was now. There we go, I'm going to take one from this angle as well, because don't always think in front, think behind, because you've got I think I moved a bit too much there. That's better. These aren't going to be as bright as I would have wanted, but they are going to show a little bit of what this camera is capable of. Of course, you saw the example photos on a very bright day right at the start of this video. There we are, there's a huge web here coming to my right. Just here. This camera is not going to pick up on the definition of that web, I wouldn't have thought, but it's always quite useful to see what colour it turns when I alter the levels of that particular photo, because you may not be able to see it in its negative, but when you switch those levels you may then figure out that actually that cobweb might be black. Swans are black. If you interestingly, if you take a photo of a swan and then you change the levels to expose the colours of the infrared, you will notice that swans are actually black. And as a matter of fact, there are 5 different colours of black, 5 different shades of black, which is quite interesting. Walk across this rickety old bridge, and then back out here is where the huge duck pond is. You could probably hear some of the animals calling back there. If I was a bit later, this place comes alive and sounds like Jurassic Park. And matter of fact, it's got a nickname of Jurassic Park. Right, everything, there we are. There's a moorhen sitting there, or a coot. What's the rhyme? I can't remember the rhyme. I can never remember if it's a moorhen or a coot. It's got a white bill anyway. Oh God, do you know what? 35 and I still can't tell the difference between a coot and a moorhen. Oh, there's some coal in here. Now there were 7 or 8 ducklings. Now they've grown into, well, ducks. There we are. There's a moorhen there with a red beak just in the distance. You could probably hear it calling. There's also a squirrel on that tree over there. Let's hope it doesn't fall in. There we are, some ducks this side, some mallard, male and female. This is the mating pair. And the ducklings, oops, sounded like it did fall in, which are now fully grown up. There we are, there's the mating pair. It's usually in the background, you can usually come across a couple of herons as well. Hey, duckies. Where are all your babies? Oh, there they are. There's one swimming at the back there. They're normally in a cluster. So there's normally like 6 or 7 of them that just all start talking at you or shouting at you as you come near them. You could also try and take a photo of, oh, there they are, all swimming through the water there. You could try and take a photo. We are going more towards into the light now because the sun is just there, but it might work. Let's take a photo of that. Yeah, there's 3 of them swimming. There we are, coming straight for us. The question is, are they going to stop by their parents or are they going to keep on coming? No, I think they're stopping. Yeah, let's leave them. You can hear some more hens or coots calling in the distance there. Probably, where are the big herons? What the hell's pushed that huge tree down? I wonder if that was the storm that hit us a couple of weeks ago. The thing is, the ground around here is all because of the pond and everything, all mini lake. It's so damp, it's so marshy that you don't really need a very big storm or very high winds to push the trees over, especially not like, say, a willow tree of that size. Amazing. That sound, which you may not have been able to hear very well, like a very faint tapping, was our native woodpecker. We've got 2 woodpeckers in the UK. We have, as far as I'm aware, we have green and we have a red. And a couple of weeks ago, down by my house, in the tree in the back garden, was a red woodpecker, just hammering away at a tree, at the bark. There we are, and here's where you normally see the herons. Now and again you see their heads pop up as they're standing there. Doesn't look as if there's any, because they would have flown by now if they'd heard my booming Welsh dulcet tones. Let's grab a couple of things there. So I'm going to bring this camera down a bit. My focal point isn't going to be the sky. I've got quite a bit of sky in there. I'm just going to move it a bit down so it's more at the Irish and the shoots level there. And it's getting a bit brighter. Looks like the cloud cover is starting to move over. We're getting these huge big patches of blue, which is exactly what you want for 720. Totally is. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I can do this all day, and I literally have, for ad infinitum, just going out. Something just shouted, animal-wise. And I can just go out for hours. I can take my camera backpack with me with my 6 batteries that I've got for the M range and all my different M's and all my lenses, and quite literally just take photo after photo after photo and fill up SD cards left, right and centre. I mean, this would be quite nice, but it's too dark. So you've got to totally, if you wanted to have something like that, then you're best off getting yourself a zoom lens, standing further back and zooming in, but even then, you're not going to really get the light that you require. I mean, now we've got one more place to take really, which is down in this open bowl, which we're going to come up against in a couple of minutes. We can take a couple more snaps of the still water. The still water looks very good in 590 as well. It looks almost like it has, again, it has that glass effect, but it has a very, almost like food colouring blue to it, where you can quite literally see. You would think that if you were standing there, you could look in the water and you could see right through it. It looks that blue, that clear. In matter of fact, the water's brown because it all comes down from the mountains and brings all the silt and mud and everything with it. There we are. So this is where I almost fell in the other week. Thought I'd go down and get a nice shot and almost fell in. So there we go. So this is nice. Again, we've got a little bit of cloud. Let's move the focal point to there, the autofocus point. So you've got a bit of cloud in the background. It gives you a bit of fluffiness. You've got the total still river here. So that would give you an absolutely perfect photo. And on the days where you're very quiet, you can see fish jumping as well. We've got fog rolling down from the Bath end over to Bristol. If you can, and this is not a great way to do it, you might be able to lean in. You can't see it very well. The thing is, a lot of things, when you're taking, like, say, wispy bits of mist, you'd think, oh, I haven't got that. And then you edit it, and you change the levels, and then all of a sudden you think, wow, I've got all of that mist. You can see it. I don't know how well you can see it on the GoPro, but it is definitely sweeping in. Well, there we are, friends. And that's the end of this extended video. Just how to go through and take some infrared photos with some examples. I'm hoping that I would have put all of the photos dotted right the way through this so you can see the actual finished result. I'm been talking as if you have. So I hope you enjoyed that. There's going to be a lot more coming off this infrared range, and as I learn new tricks and techniques, I will be putting it up for you to see. This is interesting. This is where deer have been sleeping because they've trampled everything down. There's little patches in the ground where they've been sleeping. See, a lot of people call deer a menace. I call 90% of humans menaces. I love deers, even though they do cause a bit of damage to trees and to woodland and to plant life. But at the same time, at least they're part of nature, aren't they? You know, so it should all be, in my eyes, it should all be preserved. This should be quite nice. You're going to have the white of the ground, and you're going to have the trees there. Right, I'm going to shut up, folks. You can go about your day. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening, my friends. I've been JD. You've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends.